Stop. You're wasting money on pool chemicals you don't even need. Every week, pool owners dump chemicals into the water, thinking it's the only way to keep it clean. But what if I tell you about a tiny device that reduces chlorine by half, saves you money, and works using just the sun? Sounds too good to be true, right? I thought so too, until I tested it myself. And let me tell you, the results were shocking. I bought this chlorine-free solar-powered pool cleaner. It's called Remington Solar Sun Shock, and it's supposed to kill algae and microorganisms without chemicals. That means less chlorine, less maintenance, less exposure to harsh chemicals. Inside the box, you have an instruction booklet about 8 to 9 pages, the main unit, spring already attached, a heavy copper rod. This is where most of the cost went. A blue strainer with copper test strip inside, about 30 strips, 2 plastic wing nuts, one as a spare, a cleaning brush for weekly maintenance. Setting this up is super easy. I hold the spring down and screw the copper rod into the unit. Then I attach the blue strainer with the wing nut. Be careful, since it's metal and plastic, you don't want to over tighten and strip the thread. It took me about 8 minutes to put everything together. The shock is lightweight, simple, and has solar panel in the middle of it. Now here's where things get interesting. My pool is 33,000 gallons, but the Sun Shock is rated for 22,000 gallons. They recommend using 2 units, but I decided to test this one, and instead of using 8 chlorine tablets, I only use 4 now. Here's what the water looked like before. Now let's check it in 3 days later. The difference is insane. My pool is clearer, and I have barely used any chemicals. Plus, it's completely solar powered, so I am not paying extra electricity costs. Now, let's talk about maintenance. Every week or 2, you need to clean the copper rod, and trust me, it gets dirty. Here's how you do it. Use the brush to scrub the spring and copper rod. You will notice the copper turns green, just like the Statue of Liberty. That's oxidation, and cleaning it keeps the Sun Shock working properly. Rinse everything throughout before putting it back together. This process takes about 5 to 10 minutes and is totally worth it. How do you know the Solar Sun Shock is working? To test it today to see how it works. The reason I'm holding like this is because I'm trying to block off the solar panel, because you don't want this to run without water. So if you come closer, I have a jar of water. You see there's nothing going on in the water. Water is, I guess you could say, steady, clear. I'm going to take this, put it inside, right, and remove the cover. See what happens. According to the manufacturer, when the sun hits this, we should see bubbles coming or something happening inside. So I'm going to wait and see what happens. The water is changing into whitish color, and if you look up close, you see bubbles going up. So you know this thing is actually working. Right now, because the container is so small, you see color, but in the pool you don't see this color because you have so much water. But the goal is, when you buy this, do it like this. Set up this apparatus so you know if it works before you dump it in your pool. So this way, if you need to return it, you can. A few days later, if you look closely, this water is crystal clear. I believe these Sun Shocks are a great solution from using any chemicals to your pool. I do have to use my pump to filter the water, and I do have to scrub the wall of the pool, and I have to use a robot cleaner to get the pool clean. But what the Sun Shock does is I don't have to add any chemicals that traditionally is added for clarifying water. What's the purpose of using a pool cover? I bought this solar sun cover for 3 reasons. Reason number 1 is so that all the leaves that fall in the cover, I could just clean it off with a garden hose. In the past, the leaves would fall in the water and I would have to clean that. That's one. And second, the chlorine in the water, when the sunlight hits the chlorine in the water, it neutralizes it. So when I'm covering it, I give long life to the chlorine. So the chlorine in the water stays longer. I don't have to add too much chlorine. And third most important thing is, whole day the sun hits this cover, the heat transfers into the water. When you want to swim, the water will be ready, nice and warm, not too cold. I no longer need to shock my pool weekly or keep adding chlorine daily. This device does the work for me. If you are tired of spending hundreds on pool chemical, this is a game changer. Did you find this video useful? Like, subscribe, and share this with anyone who owns a pool.